Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in softly. Let the air fill your chest, rise and fall like the slow rhythm of waves touching the shore. Now imagine that somewhere beneath your feet, the planet is breathing too, because it is deep beneath the oceans, beneath layers of rock and time. The earth hums, a quiet, endless pulse that never stops. It's not a sound we can easily hear, but it's there. A low vibration, steady as a heartbeat. Scientists call it the microseismic hum, the natural resonance of our planet. It moves through the crust, through the oceans, through everything alive, and when you slow down enough, you can almost feel it, that gentle thrum beneath the stillness of the night. The Earth has been pulsing like this for over 4.5 billion years. Every beat tells the story of storms forming above the seas, of tectonic plates shifting, of mountains being born and eroded back to dust. Each subtle tremor is a whisper from the deep, saying, "I am alive, I am listening." Even now, as you lie still, the planet moves, not violently, but gracefully. The continents drift at the speed your fingernails grow. The ocean tides rise and fall in quiet obedience to the moon's pull. The magnetic field arcs above you like an invisible aurora, sheltering every fragile cell from cosmic harm. Everything, every breath is connected to this hidden rhythm. When you inhale, the oxygen entering your lungs once drifted in ancient atmospheres, shared by creatures long forgotten. When you exhale, your carbon becomes part of the great exchange, the cycle that feeds forests, seas, and stars yet unborn. In the slow language of time, this is the Earth's way of saying goodnight. Its pulse does not rush, nor demand attention. It waits, patient, forgiving, eternal. While we worry about the noise of our days, the planet continues to hum beneath us, holding us in its rhythm the same way a mother rocks her child. If you listen closely, the silence isn't empty. It's full of motion, of warmth, of ancient memory. Somewhere in that silence, molten rivers flow deep within the Earth's heart, swirling iron and nickel that power our magnetic shield. Above, winds sculpt clouds into countenance of air. Rain finds its way home to the sea, only to rise again, a breath exhaled and reborn. It's all one great heartbeat, and we are a part of it. You don't need to understand every law of physics to feel it. You only need to be still. Let your thoughts drift, like dust caught in sunlight. Imagine that with every breath, you sink a little closer to the planet's slow rhythm. With every exhale, the tension of the day dissolves. With every inhale, you draw in the calm of an ancient world that has always cared for you quietly. Faithfully. The Earth doesn't speak in words. It speaks in balance, in gravity, in the slow patience of mountains and the soft hush of oceans. And if you listen long enough, you might realize something profound. The pulse you feel inside your chest is not separate from the Earth's at all. It is the same rhythm, the same ancient drum echoing through oceans, forests, and veins alike. So, as you drift toward sleep, remember this: you are not just resting on the Earth, you are resting with it. Together, you are breathing slowly, peacefully, in tune with a planet that has been dreaming for billions of years. Let that thought cradle you now. Let it carry you into the quiet, where everything begins again. Take another breath. Slowly, feel the air enter your lungs, quiet and invisible. That air, the oxygen, the nitrogen, the trace of carbon, is not merely from this planet. It was born in the heart of stars. Billions of years ago, before the Earth had form, there was only darkness and fire. Giant stars, older than imagination, lived out their brilliant lives in silence. And when they reached their final moments, they collapsed inward, then burst outward, scattering their luminous remains across the galaxy. Every atom of iron in your blood, every calcium crystal in your bones, every trace of gold on your skin, was once part of a dying star's final breath. We are, quite literally, the dust of ancient suns. When those cosmic fragments drifted through the cold vacuum of space, they began to gather, grain by grain, pulled together by gravity's gentle insistence. From chaos came order, from silence came motion. A nebula began to swirl, soft, glowing, like a dream in slow motion. At the center, heat ignited. A new star was born, our sun. And around it, in quiet circles of gas and stone, the seeds of planets began to form. Earth was one of them, a delicate sphere sculpted from stardust and time. It spun, still molten, glowing like a small ember in a vast night. Comets carried water from the outer reaches of the solar system, dropping ice that melted into oceans. Lightning danced across the skies, striking ancient seas, sparking the first whispers of life. From those tiny sparks, life began to bloom. Molecules met, joined, and evolved. Cells divided, patterns repeated, until one day, billions of years later, the cosmos opened its eyes through you. You are the universe becoming aware of itself, a brief consciousness formed from atoms that have traveled since before time had a name. When you touch your skin, you are touching something older than the mountains, older than the oceans, older than the planet beneath you. That the iron in your body once burned inside a red giant star. The hydrogen in your blood once floated freely in interstellar clouds. And the calcium in your bones once drifted for eons through the cold space between worlds. Now, those ancient elements hum quietly together in harmony, forming your heartbeat, your breath, your being. And still, above you, the stars that gave you birth shine faintly, as if watching their creation with gentle pride. We often look up at the night sky and feel small, but if you could hear what the universe whispers, it would say the opposite. It would tell you that you are vast, that inside you lives the same fire that shaped galaxies. Every breath you take is a continuation of that cosmic story. Every moment of stillness is the echo of eternity itself. The atoms that make you are older than your name, your memories, your dreams, and one day, long from now, they will drift again to form new stars, new planets, new life. The cycle will continue, endlessly and gently, like the rhythm of a lullaby written in light. So tonight, as you rest, remember this simple truth. You are not just on the earth, you are of the earth, and the earth itself is of the stars. You are a constellation made flesh, a fleeting shimmer in an infinite sky, a song of dust and fire that found a voice. Let that thought settle in your mind, like a feather drifting through space. Because, when you sleep, the stars sleep with you, dreaming of the day they will become alive again, through you. Somewhere between fire and frost, between the blinding heat of the sun and the silent cold of the outer void, there is a narrow band of safety. Astronomers call it the habitable zone, but poets might call it something else. The space where warmth learns to be gentle. Earth lives there, suspended in that fragile balance, spinning slowly in the sun's golden light, neither too close to burn, nor too far to freeze. This perfect distance is no accident. It is the quiet miracle that allows rivers to flow, clouds to gather, and hearts like yours to beat beneath a breathable sky. If we were just a little nearer, the oceans would boil into mist. A little farther, and the seas would lock beneath ice, forever silent. But here, in this delicate middle ground, water dances between forms, liquid, vapor, and snow. a shapeshifter that gives life to everything it touches. Each morning, sunlight travels 93 million miles, crossing the emptiness of space to brush gently against the face of our planet. And in that moment of contact, the world awakens. Leaves open, clouds bloom, the ocean glitters like glass, and even the smallest seeds feel the warmth and begin to dream. It's easy to forget how precise this balance is, how the tilt of the Earth, just 23.5 degrees, creates the dance of seasons, how the spin, steady and faithful, keeps day and night in rhythm, and how the moon's steady pull prevents our planet from swaying too far. We live in harmony with forces so vast, yet so silent, that we rarely stop to listen. The sunlight that warms your face right now is more than 8 minutes old, a golden echo from the heart of a star. It began as a nuclear storm, forged in the sun's blazing core, and spent thousands of years traveling through its layers before finally breaking free, racing through space to find you. When it touches your skin, you are being kissed by ancient fire, a warmth that has traveled through eternity to remind you that you belong here, precisely where you are, in the grand design of the universe. Earth could have been anywhere, but it isn't. It's here, in this gentle cradle of temperature and light, where oceans sigh and forests breathe. Even your body, with its balance of heat and coolness, mirrors this same perfect distance. Your skin holds warmth within, but releases just enough to stay alive. You, too, live in balance, a walking reflection of the planet that holds you. When night falls, the sun's light bends through the atmosphere, painting the sky in hues of gold and violet that glow. The soft farewell of day is the reminder that perfection doesn't shout, it whispers, and in that whisper, you can feel the steady heart of a planet that found its home in the quietest part of the cosmos. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, imagine that balance surrounding you, warmth without burning, coolness without sorrow, light that comforts instead of blinds. Let the Earth's perfect distance hold you. Let the sun's gentle warmth cradle your breath, because even in the vastness of space, you are exactly where you were always meant to be. Listen. If you are very still, you can almost hear it. A slow inhale, a gentle exhale, not from you, but from the world itself. The Earth breathes through the oceans. Every wave that rises, every tide that retreats, is part of that quiet rhythm, a heartbeat made of water and wind, covering more than 70% of the planet. The oceans are its lungs, its pulse, its memory. From space, they shimmer in deep blues and shifting greens, a vast living mirror that reflects the light of the sun. But beneath that surface lies a world in constant motion, ancient, mysterious, and endlessly alive. It begins with the smallest of beings, tiny, drifting forms called phytoplankton, invisible to the naked eye, yet powerful beyond measure. They float near the sunlit surface, turning light into life. With each breath of photosynthesis, they release oxygen, the same oxygen that fills your lungs now. Half of the air you breathe comes not from forests or fields, but from the sea, from these delicate, silent creators that rise and fall with the rhythm of the waves. Beneath them, currents travel like slow rivers within the sea, carrying warmth from the tropics to frozen poles, and returning the cool waters back again. It is a circulation so vast, it takes 1,000 years for one journey to complete. A single, endless inhale and exhale. In the dark depths, where sunlight can no longer reach, life continues in patient silence. Creatures glow softly in the black water, their light pulsing in sync with the unseen tides. It is the planet's most secret symphony, a quiet orchestra that has played for millions of years. The ocean doesn't hurry. It moves with purpose, guided by the pull of the moon and the whisper of the wind. Each wave that touches the shore has traveled across vast distances, carrying stories of storms, of calm, of time itself. When the waves finally break, they release more than water. They release memory, ancient salt, the taste of creation, the breath of the beginning, and then they retreat again. To begin the cycle anew, stand by the sea, and you can feel it breathing beneath your feet, a subtle rhythm that mirrors your own chest, rising and falling. You and the ocean are not separate things. You are made of the same salt, the same water, the same quiet need to move, to return, to begin again. Every drop that touches your skin has been part of a cloud, a river, a glacier, a tear. The water that keeps you alive has circled the planet countless times, passing through whales and rainstorms, mountains and veins. So when you breathe tonight, remember that your breath continues the ocean's work. Each inhale is a tide rising, each exhale a tide retreating, a shared rhythm, ancient, steady, and kind. The oceans do not speak loudly, but their message is clear. Patience, balance, connection. Let that rhythm carry you now. Imagine the waves moving slowly beneath a silver moon, the water whispering against the sand, the whole planet exhaling in peace. You are part of that breath, a living note in the ocean's endless song, and as you drift toward sleep, the tide will keep breathing for you, until morning comes softly and the world begins again. There are places on Earth where time itself seems to stop, where the air grows still and silence rests like snow upon the world. Those are the places where the mountains sleep. They rise slowly, not in the way that trees grow, but in the way countenance breathe. Their motion is too patient for eyes to see, too vast for a single lifetime to measure. Yet even in stillness, they are alive. Each mountain holds a memory of fire, of collision, of creation. Long ago, when the earth was young and restless, plates of stone beneath the oceans pressed and folded, lifting the seafloor into the sky. What was once coral became cliffs. What was once sediment became summit. The mountains were born in the planet's deep exhale. Now they stand as monuments to slowness. Their peaks pierced the thin blue breath of the atmosphere. Their roots reach down farther than we can imagine. Inside them, minerals crystallize like frozen light, while rivers carve their faces grain by grain, turning stone into dust, and dust back into soil, the endless cycle of patience. If you were to place your hand upon a mountain, you would feel nothing move, but deep beneath, tectonic plates shift with the calm certainty of eternity. They do not rush, they do not compete, they simply move in the rhythm of geologic time, a heartbeat that lasts millions of years. The mountains remind us that strength can be silent, that power can exist without sound or speed, that every snowfall that gathers on their slopes is a whisper of water returning home. Every avalanche, a reminder that even the ancient must release to stay whole. From their ridges, the wind carries stories down into the valleys, stories of endurance, of balance, of surrender. Birds nest in their cliffs, clouds rest upon their crowns, and streams born from melting ice sing softly as they descend to nourish the land below. What looks lifeless from afar is, in truth, a slow pulse of energy and grace. Mountains sleep, but they are never still. They rise and fall through the ages, like the tides of stone. Some crumble into sand, some sink beneath seas, only to be reborn once more, as the planet folds and breathes again. In their silence, there is wisdom, a lesson about time, that not all movement must be seen, and not all change must be swift. Sit quietly for a moment. Imagine the weight of a mountain beneath you, the ancient calm rising through the stone into your body. Feel how steady it is, how unbothered, how eternal. That stillness belongs to you too. The same minerals in the mountain's bones flow in your veins. You are made of the same earth, shaped by pressure, refined by time, stronger than you know. So when the world feels too fast, remember the sleeping mountains. Remember that patience is its own kind of power, that silence is not emptiness, but peace in its purest form. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts settle like snow upon stone, and as you drift toward rest, imagine those mountains around you guarding your dreams, ancient and kind, breathing with the slow rhythm of the earth itself. Because even in their slumber, they are awake in ways we've forgotten, reminding us that calm is not stillness, it is strength, perfectly at rest. If you listen carefully to a river, you'll hear more than the sound of water. You'll hear a memory, a story the earth has been telling for millions of years. A river never truly begins, and it never truly ends. It is the earth's handwriting, flowing across stone and soil, recording the passage of time in liquid script. Every drop carries a secret. It might have once been a snowflake, resting gently on a mountaintop, or a bead of mist drifting through a forest dawn, or a fragment of ocean that rose into a cloud and fell again as rain. Each has traveled far, each has changed shape countless times, yet they always return to the same song, the song of movement, of patience, of return. Rivers are more than water, they are memory made visible. They remember the contours of land, the weight of centuries, the touch of wind and gravity. They carve valleys, feed roots, and connect everything that breathes. As a river flows, it gathers fragments of the world, minerals from stone, silt from the mountain's side, echoes of leaves, whispers of light. These fragments mix and travel on, building new lands far downstream. Nothing is ever lost, it only moves, reshaped and renewed. When you stand beside a river, what you see is only the present moment, the surface, shimmering and alive. But below that, layer upon layer of history drifts silently past. A river remembers every storm it has endured, every drought it has survived, and every dawn that reflected upon its skin. Scientists say rivers sculpt the land over ages, but in truth, they also sculpt us. They remind us to move, to flow, to let go of what we cannot hold. Notice how a river never clings to the stones that slow it. It moves around them, softly, persistently, gracefully. Given enough time, even granite yields to its touch. That is the quiet strength of water, gentle, yet unstoppable. And in that, there is wisdom. To be like a river is to understand the art of surrender, to trust the journey, even when you cannot see where it leads. Each bend, each ripple, reflects the light differently, just as each moment in your life shapes who you are in its own way. You are flowing too, not across land, but through time. The blood in your veins moves with the same rhythm as rivers. It carries nutrients, warmth, and life, weaving through you the same way the great rivers weave through continents. You are part of that same design, the pattern of motion that keeps the world alive. At night, when rivers rest beneath the stars, they mirror the heavens, turning black and gold beneath the moonlight. In their reflection, the sky meets the earth, and the infinite touches the finite. It's as if the universe looks down and sees itself moving gently in water. So, as you breathe now, imagine that you are the river, flowing calmly through your own landscape of thought. Each inhale, a gathering of peace. Each exhale, a letting go. You don't have to rush. The current will carry you. Let that rhythm soothe you. Let the river's patience become your own. And when you finally drift into sleep, know this: somewhere in the dark, a river still flows, remembering you, carrying your reflection in its quiet journey to the sea. Because like you, it knows that every ending is only another way of beginning again. The rain speaks softly, but the earth understands every word. Each drop is a syllable, each storm a sentence, a language as old as the clouds themselves. It begins quietly, a tremble in the air, a deep breath drawn by the sky. Then the first drop falls, and the world listens. Rain is the earth's conversation with the heavens, a cycle of giving and return. It rises as vapor, invisible, light and free, then cools, gathers, and descends again, becoming weight, touch, nourishment. The same water that falls on your window tonight may have once drifted over the Amazon or rested in the curve of an ancient sea. It has been everywhere. It remembers everything. When rain touches the soil, it doesn't merely wet it, it wakes it. The scent that follows, that gentle perfume we call petrichor, is the earth exhaling in gratitude. It is the smell of dust meeting life, of dry ground being made whole again. Close your eyes and imagine the slow rhythm of rainfall on leaves. Each drop carries a tiny vibration, a soft percussion played by nature's hand. In that sound, there is order without effort. There is music without a composer. It is the universe humming itself to sleep. Science tells us that raindrops form around microscopic dust, small particles that give shape to the invisible. Even in something as gentle as rain, we find structure, gravity, connection. The laws that bind galaxies are the same laws that guide these tiny droplets home. But beyond physics, there is something more, something that stirs the heart when the rain begins. Perhaps it is memory. Our ancestors listened to rain before we had words. They learned its moods, the joy of a drizzle, the calm of a steady fall, the reverence of thunder rolling in the distance. Rain reminds us that all things return to balance, that droughts end, that what leaves us in vapor will find its way back in blessing. When it rains, the world slows down, cities hush, birds fold their wings, and even the wind seems to listen. Raindrops trace the edges of windows, collecting, merging, sliding downward like thoughts letting go. And in those quiet moments, you can almost hear the earth dreaming. The sound of rain is its heartbeat, steady, soothing, eternal. So let it fall. Let the rhythm surround you. Each drop that lands outside your window is a whisper to rest, a reminder that everything is being cleansed, renewed, made gentle again. If you breathe slowly enough, you might begin to match the tempo, a calm, steady rhythm of in and out, like rainfall on your skin. And as you drift towards sleep, imagine yourself dissolving into that rhythm, becoming part of the mist, the clouds, the falling sky. Because rain does not fall to end the day, it falls to remind us that peace can be found in repetition, in return, in the soft promise that life continues. Tonight, the earth speaks again in the language of rain, and if you listen closely enough, you might just understand what it's saying. Rest now. All things find their way back home. Step into a forest and listen. At first, it seems silent, a hush so complete that even your heartbeat feels loud. But stay a moment longer, and you'll hear it, the soft symphony of life breathing beneath the stillness. Every forest has its own rhythm, its own quiet pulse. The trees are not silent at all. They whisper through their roots, speak through the rustle of leaves, and hum in frequencies too deep for human ears. Scientists call it the wood wide web, a hidden network of fungi and roots that allows trees to communicate. Through it, they share nutrients, warn of danger, and care for their young. A mother tree, deep in the shadows, can send sugar to a sapling, struggling for light. In the dark soil, unseen hands reach out, not to take, but to give. That is the language of forests. Connection without noise, strength without pride, growth without haste. When sunlight filters through the canopy, it becomes gold dust, floating slowly in the cool air. Each beam moves like time itself, steady, patient, eternal. It touches moss, awakens ferns, and warms the backs of ancient trunks that have stood through centuries of wind and rain. If you close your eyes, you can feel that patience in your breath. Inhale the scent of earth, that deep, damp perfume of life being reborn. It is the smell of fallen leaves becoming soil, of decay turning into nourishment. Nothing in a forest is wasted. Every ending is a beginning disguised in green. Birdsong weaves through branches like threads of light. Far above, the canopy moves like an ocean, waves of leaves rising and falling in the wind. And beneath it all, a stillness holds everything together. A silence that isn't empty, but full of listening. Forests remind us that silence is not absence, it is presence, measured in breath and growth. Every second, unseen processes unfold, roots drinking, moss unfurling, seeds awakening in the dark. The forest doesn't rush toward tomorrow, it trusts the rhythm of now. Even death, here, is gentle. A fallen tree does not vanish, it becomes shelter, soil, and the foundation for new life. The forest teaches us that transformation is not loss, it is continuation. When night falls, the air cools, and a hush deeper than sound spreads among the trunks. Owls stir, the earth exhales, and in that dim blue light, the forest begins its nightly work, breathing in carbon, releasing oxygen, restoring balance to the air we breathe. Every breath you take tonight carries a gift from the trees. Their calm is inside you, flowing through your lungs, soothing your thoughts. So, when the world feels heavy, remember the quiet of forests. Remember that even in stillness, everything is growing. That peace is not the absence of motion, but the harmony of many lives moving as one. Let your breath slow, like wind passing through leaves. Let your body rest, like moss resting on stone. And as you drift toward sleep, imagine yourself beneath that green cathedral, the light soft, the air cool, the ground steady beneath you. You are part of this rhythm. You are part of this silence. Because in every forest and in every heart, the same truth lives. Quiet is not empty. It is full of everything that matters. Before the first forests, before the first mountains rose, there was only the sea, endless, blue, and breathing. It was the cradle of every life that has ever moved, the vast lung of the earth, inhaling light, exhaling clouds. Even now, the oceans breathe. With every wave that rises and falls, they exchange air with the sky. Oxygen drifts upward, carbon sinks below. In that rhythm, our planet finds its pulse. Stand at the shore, and you can feel it, the steady draw and release of water against sand. It's the sound of the planet exhaling. It's the same rhythm that lives inside your chest. Ancient and familiar. Beneath the surface, the world is alive with motion. Currents move like great invisible rivers, carrying warmth and life across the globe. Tiny plankton drift through beams of sunlight, turning light into oxygen, feeding the cycle of existence with every breath they make. Most of the air you breathe tonight was born in their silent labor, 1,000,000 unseen lives working together in harmony. The ocean's breath sustains us, but it also teaches us. It reminds us that life moves in tides, advancing and retreating, growing and releasing. No wave lasts forever, yet none truly disappears. Each one folds into the next, becoming part of a rhythm far greater than itself. Listen to the waves for long enough, and your thoughts begin to mirror them. They rise and fall, rise and fall, until finally they're quiet. Science tells us that the sound of ocean waves lowers the heart rate, slows the breath, and calms the mind. It's not just relaxation, it's resonance. The frequency of the sea matches the natural rhythm of the human heart. We are, in a way, remembering what we came from. Deep below, where light cannot reach, the ocean holds secrets untouched by time. There, creatures drift through darkness in a ballet of slow, glowing movement, jellyfish pulsing like living lanterns, whales singing in voices that can travel for miles. Their songs ripple through the deep like prayers, ancient and unhurried. And though we cannot hear every note, the ocean listens. It always has. When storms rise, the sea roars, but even its fury has rhythm. Each crash of a wave is a heartbeat, each retreat a breath. It teaches us that even power can be graceful, and that calm will always follow the storm. Now, imagine the ocean at night, the moonlight stretching across the surface like silk, the waves glimmering with bioluminescent sparks, each one a tiny star adrift in liquid darkness. It's as if the heavens have fallen into the sea, and the universe is breathing with the earth. Take a slow breath. Inhale like the sea drawing in the tide. Exhale like the sea releasing it back to shore. Let that rhythm carry you. Let it smooth the edges of your thoughts until you, too, move like water, fluid, gentle, unresisting, because you are not separate from the ocean. You are born of it. Your blood carries its salt. Your heartbeat echoes its waves. You are the sea, remembering itself in human form. So tonight, as you drift toward rest, let the ocean breathe for you. Let its rhythm guide you into stillness. And as your consciousness sinks softly beneath the surface, know that you are returning to the same vast calm that gave birth to all things. The sea is not just water, it is memory, it is breath, it is the quiet heartbeat of the world, and in its deep, endless peace, you will always find your way home. Sand remembers everything. Every grain is a story, a fragment of mountain, a trace of coral, a whisper of time worn thin. What looks like emptiness beneath your feet is really a library of the earth. Written in the smallest of letters, each grain began somewhere vast. Once, it was a stone that touched the sky. Then came rain, wind, and the long patience of centuries. Slowly, the mountain gave itself away, particle by particle, becoming something softer, gentler, freer. That is the quiet destiny of all things strong, to someday learn the grace of yielding. Walk across a dune, and you are walking on what used to be peaks. The desert is not dead. It is simply moving in a different rhythm. Every gust of wind reshapes it. Each sunrise rearranges its face. And yet, though it changes constantly, it never loses itself. The desert remembers its form the way the sea remembers its tide. If you listen closely, you can hear sand move, a dry whisper, a slow cascade, a billion small sounds merging into one. It is the sound of time exhaling. Scientists have discovered that dunes can sing. When wind crosses their slopes just right, they release a low, resonant hum, a note deep enough to feel in your chest. It's the voice of the earth itself, speaking softly in the language of vibration. Even the smallest grains follow hidden laws. Each one falls, slides, and settles according to patterns of gravity and friction, simple forces woven into an intricate dance. Together, they form dunes that move like living creatures, migrating across continents at the pace of centuries. At night, the desert breathes differently. The heat escapes, and the air cools into crystal silence. Stars bloom overhead so bright and near that you can almost hear them shimmer. Beneath them, the dunes hold their breath, their surfaces silvered by moonlight, their shadows stretching like waves of stillness. Here, in the quiet vastness, you begin to feel what sand remembers, not the noise of history, but the patience of transformation. It reminds us that even what crumbles still has purpose, that falling apart can be a kind of becoming. Sand teaches the art of impermanence. No form lasts forever, but every form contributes to the next. The mountain becomes sand, the sand becomes glass, the glass captures light, and the light returns to the world as warmth. Nothing is ever truly gone, it only changes form again and again, like breath. Sit for a moment in that thought. Imagine each grain beneath your fingertips, cold, light, ancient. Imagine the wind tracing new lines across the dunes, reshaping what was, without regret, without hesitation. That is how peace moves, quietly, without resistance, and as you breathe now, feel the same patience settle within you. You are not separate from this cycle. You are made of the same minerals, worn by the same time, returning always to stillness. Let the memory of sand soothe you. Let it remind you that even the smallest things can carry the weight of eternity. Because in the language of the earth, sand is not the end of something broken. It is the beginning of something beautifully simple. So rest now, like the dunes under moonlight. Let your thoughts drift and settle, and when the wind of dreams moves through you, yield to it, as the desert does, softly, gracefully, without fear of being undone. For even in stillness, you are becoming something new. If you stand quietly beside a tree long enough, you might begin to feel it breathe, not in the way we do, not with lungs or air, but through a deeper rhythm, ancient and slow. A pulse of life moving through wood and root. Scientists have discovered that trees do, in fact, have a heartbeat. It's faint, a subtle expansion and contraction that moves water upward from their roots, feeding leaves, cooling bark, nourishing life. It happens in silence, in cycles that match the rhythm of the day and night. Even while the forest sleeps, the trees are breathing. This heartbeat is not measured in seconds, but in patience. A single pulse can take hours to complete, and yet it continues, steady, unseen, eternal, every beat a whisper to the earth, I am still here. If you listen to the wind move through their branches, you'll hear the melody of that life. Leaves tremble like soft percussion, boughs hum in gentle harmony. Each sound is a note in a song that has been playing since before human memory began. Trees are the planet's lungs. With every sunrise, they draw in carbon from the air, turning it into wood and releasing oxygen for us to breathe. Your every breath is shared with them. What you exhale, they inhale. What they release, you receive. An endless exchange, a silent conversation that sustains the world. And within that exchange, there is love, not the kind spoken in words, but the kind that simply is, steady, giving, without demand. Deep underground, roots weave through the soil, touching, sharing, communicating. Through networks of fungi and moisture, trees send messages, warning of drought, offering nutrients to those in need. No tree stands alone. Their strength is shared. When a tree falls, its roots remain connected, still feeding, still giving, until the forest has absorbed its memory. Even in death, trees sustain life. Their rings tell time, each one a chapter of sunlight and rain, growth and stillness. To read them is to read the story of the earth itself. Some rings speak of fire, some of long winters, some of gentle seasons where the forest thrived in peace. Imagine placing your hand on the bark of an old tree. Feel the quiet strength beneath your palm, the centuries of wind it has endured, the storms it has stood through, the warmth it has shared with countless living things. It doesn't resist the world, it sways with it, and in that surrender, it endures. Trees remind us that resilience doesn't always roar. Sometimes it is silent, sometimes it stands still and waits for the light. When night falls and the forest grows dark, the trees rest too, their roots drawing water, their leaves drinking starlight. The air grows rich with oxygen, and the earth exhales in calm unity. So tonight, breathe with them. Let your heart find the same slow rhythm, in and out, in and out. Let the day dissolve like sunlight fading through leaves. Because the heartbeat of trees is not so different from your own. It is the rhythm of life enduring quietly, without haste, without noise. And as you drift toward sleep, imagine yourself beneath their canopy, their roots beneath you, their branches above, their calm surrounding your spirit. In their stillness, you will find your own. In their silence, you will hear the pulse of peace. For the forest's heart and yours beat together, one slow, steady reminder that you, too, belong to this living world. Look up. The sky is never still. Even on the calmest day, the clouds are moving, drifting, shaping, dissolving, like thoughts that have forgotten their edges. We often see them as passing scenery, but clouds are living archives of the earth's breath. They form where warmth meets cold, where vapor turns visible, where invisible air becomes story. Each one is a sculpture of time, drawn in light and wind. A single cloud can hold millions of tiny droplets, so small that they float. Suspended in delicate balance, they gather moisture, reflect sunlight, cast shadows that cool the ground, and carry the promise of rain. They are both soft and powerful, gentle to the eye, but capable of moving mountains of water through the sky. In their constant motion, they teach us something about change. No cloud remains the same. They form, merge, fade, returning again in another shape, another place, another sky. Yet nothing is truly lost. Every wisp of vapor that leaves one horizon returns to another. Every drop that falls will one day rise again. Scientists call this the water cycle, but in truth, it is the poetry of persistence, the earth remembering how to begin again, over and over, in beauty and in silence. Watch a slow-moving cloud at dusk, its edges blush gold, then melt into violet. In those colors, you can feel time breathing. The sky paints with patience, using only light and the softest strokes of vapor. Sometimes clouds gather into storms, their bellies dark and full of power. Lightning dances within them, like brief thoughts of fire. But even then, they are only doing what they were made to do, to balance, to release, to remind the world that calm is born through motion. Then, as the rain falls and the thunder fades, the clouds open, becoming thin and luminous again. Forgiveness written across the heavens. From above, astronauts describe them as oceans of light and shadow, great white countenance drifting across a blue planet. From below, we feel their passing as shade, as mist, as the soft sigh of rain upon skin. They connect heaven and earth in an endless dialogue of vapor and gravity. If you've ever lain on your back and watched them drift by, you've felt that quiet wonder, how shapes appear and vanish, how something so vast can move so gently. That is the art of letting go. The clouds remind us that beauty doesn't have to last to be real, that what changes is not less precious than what remains. They are teachers of impermanence, whispering the same lesson over and over: drift, transform, begin again. So tonight, as the world slows and your thoughts grow light, imagine yourself as a cloud, weightless, unbound, carried by invisible winds. Every worry dissolves, every edge softens. You move where you are meant to go, without effort, without resistance. Let that image hold you. Let your breath become the sky's breath, rising and falling, forming and fading, peaceful and complete. Because the secret life of clouds is not in how they move, but in how they trust the wind. And when you, too, learn that trust, you will find your own quiet sky waiting within you. Beneath the ocean's surface, the world turns blue, then darker, then almost black. But even here, where sunlight struggles to reach, light finds a way to dance. The sea does not end where we stop seeing, it only grows quieter, more ancient, more full of secrets whispered through water when sunlight enters the ocean. It bends, scattering into ribbons of turquoise and green. Each beam breaks into countless particles, touching plankton, shells, and drifting sand. Tiny mirrors that shimmer and vanish like dreams, dissolving in slow motion. In the upper layer, the water glows like glass. Fish flash like living jewels, their scales reflecting 1,000 shifting suns. Every movement leaves a trace of gold. Every shadow holds a secret hue. Deeper still, the colors fade, first red, then orange, then yellow, until only the cool blues remain. This is the twilight zone of the sea, a realm where time slows and silence feels almost sacred. Here, creatures make their own light. Bioluminescent beings, lanternfish, comb jellies, glowing plankton paint the darkness with quiet fire. They do not burn. They shimmer like breathing stars in a liquid sky. Each pulse of light is both signal and song, a language older than words, spoken through rhythm and glow. Scientists once thought the deep ocean was a place without life, but now we know it is alive in ways we can barely imagine. Entire ecosystems thrive around volcanic vents, where the Earth's heat rises from its core. Here, bacteria feast on minerals instead of sunlight. Here, life invents itself anew, defying what we once thought possible. The deeper you go, the more the ocean becomes a mirror reflecting our own hidden depths. The pressure grows immense, yet life endures, delicate, luminous, patient. Perhaps that is what the ocean teaches best: resilience through stillness, to shine even in darkness, to find peace not in the absence of weight, but in the art of carrying it gracefully. If you listen closely, you might sense it, the slow heartbeat of the planet, echoing through every current. The ocean's pulse is steady, ancient, endlessly patient. Each wave that touches the shore has traveled across worlds, through storms, through silence, through centuries of moonlight. And tonight, as you drift toward rest, you are floating upon that same rhythm. Your breath moves with the sea. Inhale, the tide rises. Exhale, the tide falls. The ocean and your body, both made of salt and memory, both remembering how to be still. Let that thought hold you. You are part of the same flow, the same balance of light and shadow, depth and calm, motion and peace. And just as the sea carries its light beneath the waves, you, too, carry yours beneath the surface, quiet, unseen, but always shining. So close your eyes, feel the gentle pull of the tide within you. Let the world dim, until all that remains is the sound of your own quiet ocean, soft, endless, beautiful. Because even in darkness, Light does not disappear, it simply learns to glow from within. Somewhere, far from the noise of cities, the world exhales. You can feel it in the cool air that slips between the trees, in the hush that settles like a soft blanket over moss and roots. This is the forest, ancient, patient, alive. At first, it seems silent, but listen longer. Beneath the stillness, there is rhythm, a quiet, endless conversation between light and leaf, between wind and wood. Every forest breathes, not like we do, but through a slow, steady exchange, the gentle miracle of photosynthesis. Each leaf gathers sunlight, transforms it into sugar, and releases oxygen, tiny invisible gifts that rise into the sky. The forest inhales carbon, exhales life, and as it does, it cleanses the air we breathe, the same air that will one day return to it in a perfect, circular whisper. The trees are not solitary beings. Beneath the soil, a vast network connects them, roots intertwined with threads of fungi. A living web that scientists call the mycorrhizal network. Through it, trees share nutrients, warn each other of danger, and nurture the weak among them. It is a hidden language of compassion, spoken in molecules, understood in silence. The forest is, in truth, a single breathing organism, each trunk a lung, each leaf a thought, each drop of dew a tiny heartbeat. Its wisdom is older than words, its patience deeper than time. When the morning light filters through the canopy, it paints the air with gold. Dust and pollen become galaxies, floating in slow motion. You can see the sunlight pulse, hear the hum of bees, the distant call of a bird echoing through green cathedrals of air. Every sound here has meaning: the creak of a branch, the soft fall of a leaf, the sigh of wind weaving through pine needles. Together they form a kind of music, not the music of performance, but of presence, the kind that asks for nothing, only that you listen. In this breathing silence, you begin to feel smaller, but not in a way that diminishes you. Rather, the forest reminds you how to belong again, how to exist without hurry, how to be part of something vast, yet tender. Scientists tell us that trees communicate in pulses, sending sugars, chemicals, and electrical signals through their roots. But perhaps what they're truly sharing is not information, but reassurance. You are not alone. We are all connected, and if you close your eyes, you can almost feel it, a slow pulse beneath your feet. The forest's quiet heartbeat syncing with your own. The air tastes green. Every breath you take feels like a gift passed through 1,000 leaves. You are breathing what they have made, and they, in turn, are breathing what you release. An eternal exchange, soft as prayer. When rain comes, the forest doesn't resist. It simply listens. Every drop becomes a note, drumming gently on bark and fern, seeping into roots, feeding the deep and the unseen. Nothing is wasted here. Even decay becomes renewal. Even endings become beginnings at night. The forest glows faintly under moonlight, silver veins tracing across the trunks, moss shimmering with dew. Bats whisper through the air, and somewhere an owl calls, low and calm, as if guarding the dreams of the trees. In the quiet of this ancient place, time loses its edges. You remember that peace is not the absence of sound, but the presence of balance. The forest does not rush, it simply is, and perhaps that is its greatest lesson, that we, too, can breathe more slowly, root ourselves more deeply, and trust in the unseen connections that keep life alive. So tonight, as your breath softens and your thoughts drift like falling leaves, imagine you are there, lying on the forest floor, the earth cool beneath your hands, the sky filtered through 1,000 shades of green. Each inhale carries the scent of pine and soil. Each exhale returns it with gratitude. And as your body grows still, you become part of that vast, living rhythm, a single note in the quiet song of the forest. Breathing in silence, breathing in peace. There are places on earth where silence feels ancient, where even the wind speaks softly, and every sound echoes like memory. These are the mountains. Their peaks pierce the sky, their roots reach deep into the planet's bones. They are the oldest storytellers, shaped by fire, sculpted by time. From a distance, they seem eternal, but mountains are not still. They rise and fall like slow waves, their faces carved by rivers, their ridges softened by wind. Each stone is a chapter of Earth's autobiography, written in layers of pressure and patience. Millions of years ago, they began as folds in the crust, where continents collided, where the planet stretched and breathed. Even now, they continue to grow, millimeter by millimeter, imperceptible to us, yet unstoppable. If you stand among them, the air feels thinner, cleaner, almost sacred. You hear your breath more clearly, as if the world itself has quieted so you can listen. The wind carries secrets here, whistling through pines, sliding across granite, weaving a song of endurance. Snow rests on their shoulders, melting slowly into streams that become rivers, that become oceans. From a single droplet born on a mountaintop, entire ecosystems awaken. This is how the mountains give life, silently, steadily, without asking for praise. Their slopes are home to survivors, mosses clinging to stone, wild goats tracing impossible paths, flowers blooming in frost. Life here is humble, resilient, aware of its own fragility. In the thin air, existence becomes pure. Every heartbeat feels deliberate. Geologists see in these peaks a record of transformation. Molten rock cooled into crystal, sediment pressed into stone, oceans lifted toward the sky. Mountains remember the sea, and the sea remembers them. It is all one movement, a conversation between heights and depths, between what endures and what flows. But beyond the science, there is a quiet spirit within them, a stillness that feels alive. Many cultures call it sacred, believing mountains to be the meeting point between heaven and earth. Perhaps it's true. When you stand near a towering ridge, you can feel something vast moving through you, not loud, not visible, but undeniably present. At sunrise, their peaks blush gold, as if touched by the first light of creation. At night, they dissolve into silhouettes, dark shapes against an ocean of stars. They stand like guardians of time, reminding us how small we are, and how wondrous it is to be small. The hidden heart of a mountain beats in frequencies too slow for us to hear, yet it is there in the slow cracking of stone, in the quiet drip of meltwater, in the patient work of gravity. Every sound, every silence, a note in the mountain's long, eternal song. If you place your hand upon the rock, you might sense it, a cool vibration, a faint hum that feels older than words. It is the rhythm of the earth itself, breathing through stone, dreaming through centuries. And as you breathe with it, something softens inside you. The noise of thought fades. The weight you carry grows lighter. You begin to understand. Strength is not resistance. It is stillness with purpose. So tonight, as your mind settles like snow on quiet peaks, imagine yourself there, standing among the giants, the stars close enough to touch. Each breath becomes wind, each heartbeat a distant echo in the valley. Let the mountain's calm enter you. Let its patience steady your thoughts. And as you drift towards sleep, remember, the mountains are not only above us, they live within us too, silent, strong, and endlessly enduring. There are lands where silence becomes a sound of its own, soft, dry, infinite, where the horizon stretches unbroken and the earth seems to pause between breaths. This is the desert, a place that appears empty, yet holds the deepest memory of the planet. Here, time moves differently. Days arrive like fire, nights fall like velvet. The wind redraws the world each morning, dunes shifting, ripples forming, as if the earth is erasing and rewriting itself in sand. It is both ancient and alive, a living canvas painted by time itself. To the untrained eye, the desert looks barren, but look closer, and you'll see it pulse with quiet life. A lizard flicks its tail across the dune, a beetle traces patterns in the dust. Seeds sleep beneath the surface for years, waiting for a single drop of rain to wake them into bloom. Here, survival is an art, an act of patience, a celebration of resilience. The sand itself tells stories. Each grain, once part of mountain or coral reef, has traveled thousands of miles, carried by wind, by water, by time. Under a microscope, these grains are not smooth. They are jagged, weathered, luminous, tiny relics of Earth's restless memory. At sunset, the desert transforms. The air cools. The colors soften orange to rose, rose to indigo, until night spills across the dunes like ink. The stars arrive in silence, so bright they seem close enough to touch. Without cities, without clouds, the sky becomes a vast cathedral of light. It's easy to feel small here, but in that smallness, something opens. The desert teaches humility, that life doesn't need abundance to be full, that beauty can live in simplicity, and that stillness is not emptiness, but space for wonder to breathe. During the day, the air shimmers with heat, mirages bending light into illusion. You see water where there is none, movement where only wind dances. The desert reminds us that not everything we perceive is real, and yet, that illusion itself can be beautiful. At night, the cold arrives swiftly. You can hear the sand settle, a faint hiss like the world exhaling. The dunes glow under moonlight, soft curves of silver and shadow. The wind hums across the surface, a single note stretched through eternity. It is a lullaby the earth has been singing for millions of years. Beneath your feet, ancient fossils sleep, shells from long-lost seas, imprints of leaves that once drank rain. The desert was not always dry. It remembers oceans, forests, storms. It remembers what it means to change. Scientists say deserts expand and contract with the planet's pulse. They are barometers of balance, showing us how fragile and how flexible Earth can be. But beyond the data, the desert is a philosopher, quiet, patient, whispering truths in heat and silence. If you sit long enough beneath the stars, you'll hear it, a voice not in words, but in feeling. It says, "You are made of the same dust that drifts here. You, too, are shaped by wind and time." And somehow, that thought doesn't bring loneliness. It brings belonging. The vastness no longer intimidates. It soothes. You realize that emptiness is only the space where peace resides. So tonight, as you close your eyes, let your mind wander over the dunes, soft hills rising and falling like the rhythm of your breath. Each inhale a wave of warmth, each exhale a cool breeze. You are both the traveler and the desert, both the question and the stillness that answers it. And as sleep begins to settle, remember, the desert is not lifeless. It is simply quiet enough to hear the sound of eternity. Before the rain arrives, there is a silence that feels electric, a pause in the world's breathing. The wind softens, the sky lowers, and the air begins to hum with the scent of something ancient. something waiting. Then the first drop falls, small, deliberate, perfect. A single circle expands on the earth, and in that tiny sound, the planet seems to sigh with relief. Soon, another drop follows, then another, until the air is filled with the gentle percussion of water meeting world. Rain is rhythm, written in infinite variations. It can whisper, or it can roar. It can drift through leaves like 1,000 soft hands, or strike rooftops in waves like a heartbeat accelerated by joy. Yet no matter its tempo, it always carries the same message: renewal. Each droplet that touches the ground has traveled through the sky, formed from vapor born of oceans and rivers and breaths. It has been here before, and it will be here again. The rain is Earth's memory returning home, a circle that never truly ends. Scientists can trace a raindrop's journey. It begins as invisible vapor, cooling and condensing into a tiny sphere of life. When enough of them gather, gravity calls them down, and so they fall, not in chaos, but in orchestration. Billions of notes, falling in perfect time. Listen closely, and you'll hear the melodies hidden in the pattern. The soft patter against glass, the hollow tapping on wood, the deep, rolling murmur of thunder somewhere far beyond the hills. The sound of rain has been proven to slow the human heartbeat, to calm the mind, to remind the body how to rest. It is nature's lullaby, ancient, familiar, unhurried. When rain falls upon soil, the earth awakens. Seeds begin to stir, roots stretch a little deeper, and the scent of petrichor, that rich, earthy perfume, rises to meet the air. It is the smell of life being rewritten. Each drop a sentence, each puddle a pause in the story of renewal. Children run through it, laughing. Animals lift their heads to drink, and rivers swell with quiet gratitude. Even the dust shines for a moment before sinking back into stillness. Rain connects all living things, the high clouds and the low roots, the mountain snow and the ocean wave, the inhale and the exhale of the planet. But rain is more than weather. It is emotion made visible. It falls when the sky grows heavy, and yet, when it does, everything feels lighter. It teaches us that release is another form of healing. When night comes and the rain continues, listen to it outside your window, how it keeps its own tempo, how it speaks softly, asking for nothing in return. Its rhythm is never hurried, never harsh. It knows that even the slowest drop finds its way home. Close your eyes now. Imagine you are lying beneath a roof of leaves, the forest around you breathing, the rain tapping gently overhead. Each sound settles deeper into you. Each pause stretches longer. You can feel your body sinking to the rhythm, your breath a tide, your heartbeat a drum, your thoughts dissolving into mist. And in that rhythm, you remember what peace sounds like. The rain does not ask you to think, only to listen. It reminds you that everything, every tear, every storm, every fall, eventually returns to calm. So let the rain fall. Let it wash over your thoughts. Let it soften the edges of your day. And as you drift into sleep, know this: the rhythm of the rain is the rhythm of life itself, endless, gentle, forever beginning again. At night, the ocean becomes a different world. The surface darkens to ink, the horizon disappears, and the stars above mirror the stars below. In that boundless reflection, it feels as though the sky and sea have finally found each other. But beneath that quiet darkness, something extraordinary happens. The water begins to glow. Tiny sparks of blue light flicker with each movement. A wave breaking, a fish darting, a boat or cutting through the surface. It is as if the sea itself has learned how to breathe in light. This is bioluminescence, nature's most delicate form of magic. Microscopic plankton, jellies, and deep-sea creatures produce light from within their own cells, a chemistry of survival and beauty intertwined. They glow to attract, to defend, to communicate. Each pulse of light is both signal and art, a silent Morse code written in radiance. Scientists call these beings They live in the surface waters, feeding on sunlight by day and lighting the sea by night. When disturbed by motion, they emit a soft blue glow, a defense mechanism, a spark of life against the dark. A single splash can awaken millions of them, turning an entire bay into a field of liquid stars. If you've ever seen it, you know how surreal it feels to watch your hand trail through black water and leave behind ribbons of glowing light, to see waves breaking like lines of fire, to realize the darkness itself is alive. Deeper still, where sunlight never reaches, bioluminescence becomes language. In the abyss, creatures flash-coded messages to attract mates, to lure prey, to confuse predators. There where the pressure is immense and silence absolute, light is a way to exist, a whisper that says, "I am here." The anglerfish carries a lantern at the end of a living filament, swaying it through the dark to draw curious life closer. Jellyfish bloom like ethereal ghosts, their tendrils trailing threads of sapphire light. Even bacteria glow softly inside the bodies of larger beings, illuminating them from within like small, beating hearts. The ocean's midnight glow is more than a spectacle. It is a reminder that beauty often blooms where no one can see it, that even in the deepest dark, life finds a way to shine. When we look up at the stars, we often forget there are stars below us too, drifting, breathing, pulsing in silence beneath the waves. Both realms, sky and sea, speak the same ancient language of light. They are two halves of the same wonder. For a moment, imagine floating there, suspended in that quiet glow. No sound but the slow rhythm of the tide, no boundary between body and water. You move, and the ocean responds, a shimmer following your fingertips, a gentle trail of blue unfolding behind you. It feels like being inside a dream that doesn't need to end. bioluminescence exists because darkness exists. The glow is born from the absence of light, not in spite of it. It is nature's way of saying that darkness is not the enemy, it is the canvas where light can finally be seen. So tonight, as you lie beneath your own sky, think of those invisible oceans, alive with hidden stars. The same atoms that make them glow move quietly through you too. You are part of that brilliance, that rhythm, that quiet miracle of existence. Let that thought drift through you like a wave of calm. Let it remind you that your light, too, doesn't need to be loud to be real. Sometimes it is enough to simply glow, softly, steadily, in your own deep ocean of stillness. And as sleep begins to rise around you, you might feel it, a quiet shimmer beneath your thoughts, a blue warmth beneath the dark. That is your own bioluminescence, the light you carry even in your calmest night. There is a moment, just before dawn, when the world seems to hold its breath. The air is cool and still, the sky a quiet shade of grey-blue. Then, gently, as if the earth sighs in her sleep, the wind begins to move. You can't see it, but you can feel it touch your skin, threading through the leaves, brushing across your hair, stirring the scent of grass and rain. It is the planet's oldest voice, the whisper of the wind, speaking in a language older than words. Every gust, every breeze, is part of an endless circulation, a heartbeat of air that has never truly stopped. The molecules that fill your lungs tonight may have once drifted over the red dunes of the Sahara, swept across the Pacific, or danced through the pine forests of the Arctic, the wind you feel now has touched every corner of the earth. High above, in the invisible highways of the atmosphere, jet streams rush faster than any bird can fly. They carry warmth, moisture, and memory, the breath of countenance, trading secrets across the sky. Down below, mountain ridges carve the air into song, turning turbulence into melody. Every valley has its tone, every desert its rhythm, every ocean its endless exhale. If you listen closely, the wind tells stories. It hums through canyon walls, it sighs through open fields, it howls over icy peaks, and sometimes it becomes soft enough to be mistaken for silence. A silence that still moves. Long ago, before humans wrote language, our ancestors read the wind. They watched the sway of trees, the ripple of sand, the curl of smoke. From it they learned direction, weather, and warning. They knew the wind as a living spirit, not an element to be controlled, but a companion to be understood. Today, we measure it with instruments and satellites, giving names to its invisible power: trade winds, monsoons, cyclones. Yet its essence remains unchanged. It is still the same gentle force that carries seeds across continents, that shapes dunes into waves, that moves clouds across your window on a quiet afternoon. The whisper of the wind reminds us of connection. It ties the breath of a forest to the breath of a city. It unites the rustle of a single leaf with the roar of a distant storm. Every inhale you take is a part of that same circulation, the planet breathing through you. Sometimes, when life feels heavy, you can step outside and let the air touch your face. Close your eyes and listen. It may sound like nothing, but in that soft rush, you are hearing the same current that has moved since time began. The wind doesn't rush toward a destination. It simply flows, dancing between warm and cold, high and low, here and there. It has no beginning, no end, only motion. And maybe there is something to learn from that. That peace doesn't come from being still, but from moving gently through the spaces life gives you. That calm is not the absence of motion, but the grace within it. As the wind brushes through the world tonight, let it move through you too. Let it carry away the weight of the day, the noise, the worry, the thoughts that cling too tightly. Feel how your breath and the earth's breath become the same rhythm. Inhale, exhale, a quiet echo of the sky's endless drift. And as you drift too, toward the soft edges of sleep, imagine yourself as part of that current light, unbound, floating among the stars of air and time. The whisper of the wind is still there, singing softly through the night. It tells you, gently, that everything is in motion and everything is at peace. In the stillness of the forest, it seems as though nothing moves, yet beneath that calm, a quiet conversation is always happening. A language without sound, spoken through roots, air, and light. The secret language of trees. Each tree, standing tall and silent, is more than it appears. It is both an individual and part of a vast community, a living network woven deep beneath the soil. Through a web of fungal threads, so thin they are nearly invisible, trees share nutrients, signals, and stories. Scientists call it the Wood Wide Web, but perhaps it is closer to a symphony, a harmony of exchange, ancient and patient. When one tree finds sunlight, it doesn't hoard the gift. It sends sugars through its roots to feed the young saplings shaded below. When another is wounded by drought or insects, it releases chemical messages into the air, warning its neighbors to prepare. Even as the forest seems still, it hums with communication, each leaf a whisper, each root a thread of thought. The oldest trees, the so-called mother trees, anchor the forest's wisdom. They reach their roots farther and deeper than any others, connecting to hundreds of smaller plants. Through these connections, they feed, protect, and even recognize their offspring. Their roots carry memories of seasons past, the rhythm of rain, the pulse of frost, the echo of fire and regrowth. When lightning strikes, or when humans cut a clearing through the woods, the network trembles. Messages ripple through the soil like waves of empathy. One life touches another, then another, until the forest breathes as one again. Above ground, the trees speak in another language, the slow music of movement. Their leaves respond to light, their trunks sway with the wind, their branches stretch toward balance. Each gesture is a word written in time, a turning leaf, a shifting shadow, a silent sigh of pollen drifting on the air. Even in winter, when the forest seems asleep, communication continues. The roots still exchange carbon and nitrogen, ensuring that the promise of spring remains alive beneath the frozen ground. It is a reminder that life's truest conversations often happen in silence. We are not so different. Our lives, too, are connected in ways we do not always see. We share emotions through glance and tone, energy through kindness and thought. Like trees, we thrive not in isolation, but in connection. When you walk through a forest, you are not alone. Each breath you take is a gift from the leaves around you, a trade between your lungs and their green hearts. You inhale their exhale, and they breathe what you release. It is the most intimate conversation the earth can offer, a dialogue between species, a rhythm older than memory. So, tonight, as you rest, imagine those tall guardians standing in the moonlight. Feel their roots beneath you, their slow pulse of life, steady and calm. Let your thoughts sink like roots into the soil, anchored, nourished, safe. The forest watches over you, a living cathedral of breath and silence, and within its stillness, you might hear it, the faint murmur of life communicating, a harmony older than sound itself. The secret language of trees is not lost. It speaks softly, patiently, to all who remember how to listen. And as you close your eyes, let that silence speak through you to rooted, connected, at peace. There are places on earth where time seems to pause, where silence stretches wide, and the sky feels close enough to touch. Those places are the mountains, ancient, immovable, yet always breathing in their own slow rhythm. To stand before a mountain is to stand before deep time itself. Each layer of rock is a page from the planet's memory, written in minerals and pressure, in the language of heat and patience. They rose from the ocean floor millions of years ago, folded and lifted by the invisible hands of tectonic breath, and even now, though they appear still, they continue to grow, so slowly, so silently, that only the earth can feel it. When mountains dream, they dream in centuries. Their dreams are carved by glaciers, painted by wind, and softened by rain. Snow falls like a whisper upon their shoulders, melting into rivers that carry the memory of height and purity down to the valleys below. The water that touches your skin today may have once rested in a mountain's frozen heart at dawn. The peaks glow gold, the first to greet the sun. At dusk, they fade into violet, the last to say goodbye. Between those hours, they hold the world steady, watching everything below with the calm of eternity. In their shadows, forests grow, eagles circle, clouds gather and dissolve, and the air, thin and bright, carries the scent of stone and sky. Every breath taken here feels older, cleaner, closer to the beginning of things. The mountains do not hurry. They have no need to. They move at the pace of the planet's pulse. Their patience is infinite, their silence full of meaning. What they teach us is not strength through dominance, but strength through stillness, the kind that endures storms, not by fighting, but by waiting. Beneath the surface, they are not lifeless. Crystals grow in darkness, slowly forming perfect geometry. Minerals hum with quiet energy, vibrations too deep for human ears. The earth is alive here, slow, powerful, aware in ways we have forgotten. Dot to the wind. Mountains are instruments. Every ridge, every slope, shapes the air into song. You can hear it on cold mornings, a low, resonant note, echoing through valleys and canyons, a sound that feels like a memory, as if the earth itself were humming a lullaby to the sky. And sometimes, if you listen long enough, you begin to feel small, but not in a way that diminishes you. Rather, it reminds you that you belong to something vast, that your worries, your noise, your rushing thoughts are tiny ripples on the surface of a timeless sea. The mountains have seen it all. Oceans rise and vanish. Stars shift across the heavens. Forests grow, burn, and return. They have watched civilizations bloom and fade like brief flowers in the summer sun. Yet through it all, they remain quiet, patient, unchanged in their purpose. When you close your eyes tonight, imagine resting against one of those ancient giants. Feel the cool stone beneath you, the deep hum of the earth within it. Let your breath slow to match its rhythm. You are safe here. You are older than you think. You are part of this steady heartbeat that has never stopped. The mountains are not asleep. They are dreaming, and within their dreams, you are cradled gently, like mist between the peaks. In their patience, find your calm. In their silence, find your rest. Because when the mountains dream, the whole earth exhales. There is a sound the earth never forgets. The sound of moving water, the gentle murmur of a stream, the low voice of a river winding through the land. It is a sound that soothes, that reminds us that all things flow, and that nothing, not even stillness, is ever truly still. Every river begins as a whisper, a drop of rain, a melting crystal of snow, a tear of mist sliding down a leaf. It gathers, joining others, until the whisper becomes a song, a thread of silver cutting through stone and soil. From mountain to valley, the river carries the stories of the earth, gathering pieces of everything it touches. It carves its path slowly, never forcing, only returning, again and again, until even the hardest rock begins to yield. This is not destruction, it is devotion, the patience of water shaping time. When sunlight touches its surface, the river becomes a mirror. It holds the sky for a moment, reflecting clouds that drift like passing thoughts. Then the wind comes, and the reflection ripples, a reminder that even beauty lives within movement. The river's memory is long. It remembers the glaciers that fed it, the forests that shaded it, the footsteps that crossed its banks for thousands of years. It has watched empires rise and crumble, its waters flowing quietly past as the world above changed and forgot. But the river remembers, always in its depths. Tiny particles of soil and ash carry traces of everything that once lived. Each grain is a fragment of a mountain, a leaf, a dream. They drift together toward the sea, toward reunion. The river is not separate from the ocean. It is its voice, its breath, its return. Every drop that travels downstream knows it will one day meet its greater self again, the vast blue heart of the planet. And when it does, it disappears, not as loss, but as completion. Along its journey, the river gives life. It nourishes roots, guides migrations, and cools the earth's fevered skin. Animals come to drink from it. People build homes beside it. Songs are written to its rhythm. and prayers are whispered into its flow. It listens, always moving, never judging, just carrying sound, light, memory. At night, when the moon bends to touch it, the water glows faintly, like a silver thread unspooling across the dark. That light, soft and ancient, travels on past sleeping forests, past forgotten fields, past the places where dreams dissolve into mist. The river does not resist its path. It accepts each curve, each stone, each fall. It teaches us the grace of yielding, how to move forward, not by fighting what stands in the way, but by flowing around it. If you listen carefully, you can hear your own heartbeat in its rhythm. Your veins are rivers to carrying memory, carrying life. You are not separate from the flow. You are part of it. You are made of it. So, as you drift into rest, imagine lying beside a quiet stream, the air cool, the sound steady and low. Your breath moves with the current, slow, gentle, endless. Let your thoughts float, one by one, until only stillness remains within the motion. Because the river is always returning, always remembering, always carrying light toward home, and tonight, so are you. At first glance, the desert seems empty, a vast expanse of silence and heat, a place where time itself appears to have stopped. But listen longer, breathe slower, and you'll feel it, the pulse beneath the stillness, the quiet heartbeat of hidden life. The desert is not lifeless, it is simply private. Its beauty is in restraint, its rhythm in patience. Here, every breath of wind, every shift of sand has meaning. When the sun rises, the dunes catch fire, not in flame, but in light. Each curve glows with gold, then softens into amber and rose. The horizon shimmers like water, a mirage that dances with the morning air. Yet beneath this illusion, life waits. It knows when to move and when to rest. Beneath the surface, roots stretch deep, seeking moisture buried far below. Seeds sleep in the sand for years, waiting for the rare gift of rain. And when it finally comes, when the clouds gather and the first drop touches the earth, the desert awakens. Flowers burst open overnight, painting the dunes with sudden color. Insects hum softly, birds return to sing, and for a brief, miraculous moment, the desert becomes a garden. Then, just as quickly, it returns to stillness again, as if exhaling, as if keeping its secrets close. Every creature here has learned the language of endurance. The fennec fox hunts under moonlight. The cactus holds water in silence. Even the stones remember, etched with ripples and ridges from ancient seas that once covered this land. The desert is a library of time, and every grain of sand is a story shaped by wind. When night falls, the temperature drops, and the stars awaken. Nowhere else does the sky look so vast, so infinite, so close. The air clears, and the Milky Way spills across the heavens like a river of light. In that darkness, you can feel the planet turning. You can hear the faint hum of space itself. The desert's silence is not emptiness, it is clarity. It strips away noise, leaving only what is essential. It asks nothing and offers everything. It teaches stillness not as absence, but as awareness. When you walk through it, your footsteps vanish quickly. The wind erases your presence, as if reminding you that belonging here means letting go. And yet, the desert remembers in its own way, not through footprints, but through the weight of your quiet. Every breath you take becomes part of its air. Every thought dissolves into its horizon. It is easy to think of the desert as harsh, but perhaps it is simply honest. It shows us what life looks like when everything unnecessary is removed. What remains is resilience and grace. Tonight, as you rest, Imagine lying beneath that vast sky, the air cool, the sand warm beneath you. Above, billions of stars shimmer in a silence that feels alive. There is no sound but your breath, and even that becomes part of the landscape, soft, slow, eternal. The desert's hidden life hums quietly, even in the dark. It waits, it endures, it believes in the return of light. And so should you, for even in your own quiet spaces, life is waiting, patient, resilient, ready to bloom again with the next rain of dawn. Every morning, long before you open your eyes, the sky begins its quiet work of remembering. It gathers the soft glow of dawn, brushes light across the edges of clouds, and prepares the earth for another beginning. The sky, vast, weightless, patient, never forgets the pattern of sunrise. It has witnessed every one since the first light touched this planet's skin. No sunrise is ever the same. And yet, each feels familiar. Colors unfold like breath, violet melting into gold, crimson fading to amber, until the world is washed in warmth again. The light moves gently across rivers and forests, through mountains and cities, touching everything without judgment, without hurry. It is the universe's daily act of forgiveness, high above. Where the air thins and sound disappears, the sky holds memory like water holds reflection. It remembers the glow of ancient fires, the trails of migrating birds, the rise of storms, and the silence that follows. Every molecule of air has been part of countless mornings before, passing through lungs, through clouds, through moments of love and loss. The air you breathe now once danced through another sunrise, somewhere else in time. The sky is never truly still. Even when it looks empty, currents of wind twist and turn, clouds form and fade, and light bends through invisible layers. It is always in motion, always becoming something new, a reminder that beauty is not in permanence, but in transformation. At the horizon, the first rays of sunlight touch the curve of the earth. That thin line of gold, so delicate, so fleeting, marks the border between night and day, between memory and renewal. And as it rises, it carries with it a promise that no matter how dark the night, light will always return. Birds begin to stir, leaves shimmer with dew, the world inhales, and in that single breath, everything feels connected. The ocean, the wind, the heartbeat beneath your ribs. You are part of the same awakening. Even when clouds hide the sun, the light is still there, glowing softly behind the veil. The sky does not forget. It holds the warmth patiently, waiting for the right moment to reveal it again. Perhaps that is its greatest wisdom, that illumination never truly leaves. It simply rests. For countless generations, people have looked up at dawn and seen hope painted across the heavens. Travelers have found direction in its glow. Writers have found words. Lovers have found each other. And every time, the sky has offered the same gentle truth, that beginnings are not rare, they happen every single day. If you listen closely, you can almost hear it, the faint hum of light unfolding, the sigh of darkness letting go. It is a rhythm older than memory, older than time. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, know that somewhere, on the other side of the world, the sun is already rising. The sky is painting another beginning for someone, for somewhere, for you, when you wake again. And as you rest, let that image stay with you. A horizon blooming with quiet fire, a sky that remembers every sunrise and will never stop reminding the earth how to begin again. Because even after the longest night, light always finds its way home. Long before the first drop touches the ground, the rain has already begun its story. It forms high above the earth, where air grows cold and clouds gather like thoughts waiting to be released. Each droplet is born from vapor, from the invisible sighs of rivers, the breath of oceans, the exhale of forests. It is the sky remembering how to give. The rain is not just water, it is memory, returning. It falls with the weight of centuries, carrying whispers from mountains, salt from distant seas, and dust from deserts half a world away. When you feel it on your skin, you are being touched by the traveling history of the planet, a circle that has never broken. The first sound of rain is soft and uncertain, like fingers testing the strings of an old instrument. Then it grows steady, rhythmic, a heartbeat that fills the air. The ground drinks, leaves tremble, the world exhales. Each drop finds its own path, down a blade of grass, along a window pane, through the quiet cracks of stone. Some return quickly to the sky, others sink deep, joining hidden aquifers that sleep beneath our feet, waiting years before rising again. There is no waste in this cycle, only patience. In the language of science, rain is a process: evaporation, condensation, precipitation. But in the language of life, it is forgiveness. The sky releases what it holds, and the earth receives it without question. Together, they balance, again and again. For the creatures of the drylands, the rain is celebration. Seeds that have waited for decades awaken overnight. Frogs rise from the dust, singing songs that haven't been heard in years. The air fills with scent, wet earth, new beginnings, the perfume of renewal. Even in cities, where the sound of tires and footsteps fades beneath it, the rain brings stillness. It asks us to pause, to watch, to listen. Behind the grey veil, the world feels softer, as if wrapped in its own heartbeat. There is a comfort in rain, a promise that everything is part of something larger. The water falling now may once have touched an ancient forest, or rested in the belly of a glacier. It may have cooled the feathers of a bird, or shimmered briefly on the petal of a flower that bloomed and was forgotten. Yet here it is again, touching you, reminding you that nothing truly leaves. When the storm passes, a hush remains. Droplets cling to leaves, to roofs, to eyelashes, each one a tiny mirror holding the world upside down, sky within earth, light within shadow. And soon the cycle will begin again. The sun will rise, warming what the night has given. The puddles will fade into vapor, invisible once more, waiting to be called back to the clouds. If you close your eyes, you can feel the rhythm of that eternal loop: rise, fall, return. It is the rhythm of breath, of tides, of life itself. Tonight, let that rhythm guide you. Imagine the gentle sound of rainfall outside your window, soft, steady, each drop a lullaby written by the sky. Feel it washing over your thoughts, clearing them, calming them, because the rain does not rush. It simply falls completely, honestly, without hesitation. And perhaps that is the secret it carries: to let go, to fall when it's time, to trust that every descent is part of the return. The memory of rain is the memory of peace, and tonight it falls softly within you too. The ocean does not breathe in air, yet it inhales and exhales with a rhythm older than any life upon it. Each tide is a heartbeat of the earth, a gentle pull and release, guided by the moon's invisible hand. It is not just water that moves, but energy, memory, and time itself. Stand at the edge of the shore, and you will feel it, the slow rising beneath your feet, the hush as the sea retreats. The tide's breath is vast, but tender, a pulse that connects the world's waters into one endless body. Long ago, the moon drew close to the newborn earth, its gravity tugging softly at the oceans. Over billions of years, that pull became rhythm, and from rhythm came life. Tiny organisms began to drift with the tides, riding each rise and fall as if rocking in the cradle of creation. Now, that same rhythm continues, reaching every coast, every inlet and bay. It pulls the seaweed in quiet dances, moves the sand beneath the waves, and tells the coral when to spawn, always at the same moonlit hour. Even now, far from the shore, your own body carries that rhythm. Your heart beats, your lungs rise and fall, in harmony with the sea's eternal motion. The air above the ocean tastes of salt and silence. It carries stories of storms that have passed, of whales calling across the dark, of sunlight breaking through mist. Every sound seems to breathe with the tide. Every pause feels alive. If you listen closely, you'll hear the delicate conversation between water and shore. The waves do not crash, they arrive, they do not retreat, they bow over and over again. A patient exchange, a promise to return. Science tells us that the tides are ruled by celestial mechanics, the gravitational embrace between Earth, Moon, and Sun. Yet somehow, knowing that makes it even more beautiful. Every ripple at your feet is a whisper from the stars. Every sigh of the sea is the echo of the cosmos in motion. There is something deeply human in the tides. We too are pulled by unseen forces, memories, emotions, love. We rise and fall, withdraw and return, always searching for balance. Perhaps that is why standing near the ocean feels like remembering something ancient, something the body never forgot. When night falls and the moon hangs low over the horizon, the sea glows faintly, as if breathing light. Waves shimmer with plankton, tiny sparks awakening with every motion. It is as though the ocean itself is alive and dreaming. If you close your eyes, you can feel that dream around you. A slow rhythm, steady as breath. The water moves closer, then drifts away again. Never hurried, never lost. In this movement lies peace. In this repetition lies comfort. Imagine the sound, a soft wash of waves meeting the sand again and again. Each touch a reminder. Everything that leaves eventually finds its way home. So breathe with it, in and out. Let your thoughts drift like sea foam. Your worries sink like stones. The ocean holds them gently, then lets them go. Because the sea knows something we are still learning. To give and receive without resistance. To flow, to rest again when called. As you listen to the quiet rhythm of the tides, feel how it mirrors the pulse within your chest. Two oceans, one within and one without, breathing together in calm unison. And when sleep begins to pull you under, know this: you are not falling, you are floating, carried by the same ancient rhythm that has guided the world since the beginning of time. The ocean breathes, and through it, so do you. Deep within the forest, beneath the rustle of leaves and the songs of birds, there is another rhythm, one that moves too slowly for the ear to hear, yet steady enough to keep all life in balance. It is the pulse of the forest, a heartbeat made not of blood, but of wind, light, and hidden roots. When you step among the trees, you are stepping into a living organism. Every trunk, every fern, every grain of soil is connected, woven together by an unseen network, a silent web of communication and exchange. Beneath your feet, billions of tiny filaments stretch through the ground. Threads of fungi carrying messages, sharing food, warning of danger. Scientists call it the mycorrhizal network, but you can think of it as the forest's mind, a quiet intelligence that hums beneath the earth. The trees speak in chemistry, in molecules of carbon and nitrogen, in the slow breath of oxygen released by day and the sigh of carbon drawn in by night. It is a language older than words, a song without sound, stand still for a moment. Listen, not with your ears, but with your breath. The forest has its own heartbeat. It quickens at dawn when sunlight filters through the canopy, and slows again as twilight falls. Each leaf opens and closes in time with this rhythm, like lungs inhaling light. When a tree falls, it does not vanish. It becomes part of the pulse itself, its body feeding new roots, its nutrients returning to the soil, its decay giving rise to new life. Nothing in the forest truly ends, it only transforms. And so, the rhythm continues, unbroken. In the hush between winds, you can almost feel the forest breathing, a deep, resonant stillness, like the pause between heartbeats. The scent of pine and moss lingers in the air, a reminder that time moves differently here, not in seconds or minutes, but in seasons, in rings of growth hidden beneath bark. Science tells us that trees can recognize their kin, that they share more resources with their own seedlings than with strangers. They nurture, they remember, they care. And though we might call that instinct, in truth, it feels like compassion, the kind that exists in silence, without the need for explanation. At night, when the forest rests, its pulse does not stop. Sap continues to rise and fall, carrying life through every hidden vessel. The roots whisper softly in the dark, carrying stories of rain, of sunlight, of the countless creatures that walked above. Every drop of dew that forms at dawn is a note in that slow, patient song. Every shadow, a heartbeat in the symphony of growth. And when you walk through it, your own body begins to match its rhythm. Your breath slows, your heart eases. You find yourself aligned with something vast and ancient, a calm intelligence that asks for nothing, but gives everything. The forest does not rush. It grows, it decays, it renews, always moving, yet always still. So tonight, as you listen to this story, imagine yourself standing beneath the canopy, wrapped in green silence. Feel the air around you, damp, cool, alive. Hear the whisper of leaves above, the distant murmur of an unseen stream. Breathe in deeply. Let your thoughts root into the earth, slowly, gently. You are part of this rhythm, part of this heartbeat, because the forest's pulse is not confined to trees. It beats within you to a quiet reminder that life, in all its forms, moves together in harmony, and as you drift towards sleep, that pulse will guide you, steady, soft, eternal. Before sound was ever named, before words were ever spoken, the wind was already telling stories. It moved across mountains and oceans, through valleys and grasslands, carrying the earth's quiet language, a voice made of motion, touch, and time. You cannot see the wind, but you can feel its presence everywhere, in the gentle sway of a branch, in the ripple of water, in the shiver that runs across your skin. It does not ask to be noticed. It simply moves, revealing the invisible threads that connect all things. The wind is the earth breathing. Every gust, every whisper is part of a vast exhalation that circles the globe without pause. Born in the heat of the sunlit desert, it rises, crosses oceans, and cools as it meets the twilight sky. Some of that same air may once have passed through the lungs of ancient creatures, through forests now long gone, through cities yet unborn. Each breath you take is borrowed from eternity. Science tells us that the wind exists because of balance, the endless dance between pressure and temperature. Warm air rises, cool air descends, and the atmosphere moves to restore harmony. But to the soul, the wind feels like memory, as if the earth itself is remembering how to move, how to sing. In the open plains, the wind hums in low tones, rolling over tall grasses like an unseen river. In the mountains, it sharpens a voice, that echoes through stone and snow. In the forests, it softens again, weaving through branches like fingers brushing a harp, and by the sea, it carries salt and distant thunder, a breath that tastes of endless horizon. Every culture has listened to this language. Ancient sailors read its direction as if reading scripture. Desert nomads knew its moods by scent alone. In old myths, the wind was a messenger of gods, a spirit that whispered truth into the world. But even now, in our modern quiet, it still speaks. We have only forgotten how to listen. Close your eyes, hear it, not just as noise, but as conversation. Each gust tells of change, a reminder that nothing stands still, that life is meant to flow. When the wind brushes past your face, it carries the essence of faraway lands, a trace of pine from northern forests, a hint of warmth from equatorial sands, perhaps even the faint breath of a volcano half a world away. You are never alone in your breath. You share it with the entire planet. Sometimes, the wind arrives gently, a lullaby that cools the skin, that makes curtains dance and thoughts quiet down. Other times, it comes wild and unrestrained, teaching us that power can exist without malice. Even in its fiercest form, the wind seeks only balance. At sunset, when the air cools and the world turns gold, the wind softens again. It moves through the trees in long sighs, through open windows like a whispering friend. It tells you it has been everywhere, above the deserts, through the storm clouds, across the lonely poles, and now it rests beside you. Let it speak to you tonight. Feel it as it brushes the edge of your thoughts, carrying away the weight of the day. Each breeze a wordless comfort, each breath a message from the earth itself. You are part of me, and I am always moving with you. The wind never holds on to anything. It moves freely, trusting the path it cannot see. Maybe that's its greatest wisdom, that peace isn't in stillness, but in motion without fear. So inhale deeply. Let your chest rise with the rhythm of the world. Feel the ancient breath pass through you, gentle, infinite, alive. And as you exhale, let everything go. Let your mind drift like a leaf, your body rest like the still air after a storm. Because the language of the wind is not meant to be understood, only felt. And tonight, it speaks softly through the quiet of your dreams. After all the oceans, the forests, and the winds, after every journey across sky and stone, there is always one force that calls us back. A pull so quiet, so constant, that we often forget it's there. It is gravity, the earth's soft way of saying, come home. Every step you've ever taken, every breath, every dream that drifted beyond the stars, has always been held by this gentle pull. It is not a prison, but a promise. The earth doesn't chain us, it embraces us. It keeps us close enough to feel its heartbeat through the ground beneath our feet. If you stand still and close your eyes, you can sense it, a tender weight drawing you inward, anchoring you to something ancient and vast. It's the same force that keeps the moon circling us, that keeps the oceans in motion, that shapes the rhythm of every falling leaf. Gravity is love in its purest form, invisible, constant, patient. Science defines it as attraction between masses, but perhaps it is also the universe's memory of connection, a reminder that nothing exists in isolation. Every planet, every particle, every you and I are part of one vast embrace. We belong always to something greater than ourselves. The earth has held you since the moment you were born. It cushioned your first fall, absorbed your every footprint, listened to your laughter, and carried your tears into its rivers. Even now, as you rest, it cradles you in its quiet gravity. There is nowhere you can go where that presence does not reach. when the night grows deep and still, and the stars begin their slow shimmer above, the world feels lighter, as if suspended in peace. And yet, even then, you are gently tethered to the planet's heart. You are not floating away into darkness. You are resting in its hold. Think of the mountains, their roots sinking deep into unseen depths. Think of the trees, their trunks rising only because their roots reach down first. Even the clouds, though they drift endlessly, are born from the earth's breath and return to it again. Everything that rises must one day come home, and that is not loss, that is belonging. There is a comfort in knowing that home is not a place, but a pull, the quiet gravity that reminds you you are never far from where you began. Every time your thoughts wander, they too are drawn back, toward peace, toward stillness, toward center. Tonight, asterisk, let that gravity hold you. Feel the weight of your body against the bed, the softness beneath you, the subtle warmth of the earth rising up through the floor. It is the planet's way of saying, you are safe here. Let your breath grow slow and even. Inhale the calm of the stars. Exhale everything that no longer needs to stay. You are exactly where you need to be. Supported, grounded, complete. Asterisk. The journey through the wonders of the earth was never about reaching somewhere distant. It was about remembering that you were already part of it all. The oceans, the rain, the forests, the wind, they are not separate stories. They are reflections of you, mirrored in nature's infinite calm. And as you drift toward sleep, the world continues to turn, mountains resting, waves breathing, clouds dreaming above you. Gravity keeps them all close, as it keeps you. The earth hums softly beneath everything, a lullaby only silence can hear. You are floating, but you are held. You are small, but you belong to something infinite. Rest now. The planet is awake for you. The stars are watching gently, and the gravity of home is here, steady, loving, eternal. Asterisk. Now the journey is complete. You have walked through oceans, listened to forests breathe, felt the wind speak, and returned to the quiet pull of home. The earth has always been here, steady beneath your feet, turning in silence, offering every rhythm that keeps you alive. And as you rest, it rests with you. The waves continue their slow pulse. The forests hum softly in the dark. The stars drift across the sky, and somewhere beneath it all, your heartbeat joins theirs. You are not separate from this planet. You are part of its dream. Every breath you take is the earth breathing with you. Every moment of stillness is the planet's own meditation. And every time you fall asleep, you return to the oldest comfort there is, the gravity of belonging. So let go now. Let the world hold you. The night is vast, but it is gentle, and in this gentle turning of the earth, you are safe, you are home, you are loved. Sleep deeply, and when you wake, the world will still be singing.